Hey everyone, it's me, and right now I'm going to do sort of a mini review on this Lionel Legacy Shay. Unfortunately, because I don't have any O-scale track with me, or a Legacy remote at the moment, I can't run her. There we go. Better spotlight on her. That's better. Well, we can sort of get started on how the engine looks. As we can see, the engine is probably a replica of a 70-ton 2-truck model, and a saturated model to be exact, even though the dry pipe is much higher and in the same position as that of a superheated Shay. Given sort of the design of the locomotive, I would say the engine is more of a saturated locomotive. Superheated Shay would also have a second dry pipe running underneath, so it would be a dual dry pipe, one on the top, one on the bottom. This one only has it on the top, whereas the 3-truck models have one on the top and bottom and are superheated. Also, as you can see, she's got really a really nice set of cylinders, and she has casted trucks rather than the bolted together trucks. And let me lift her up real quick. Here's the manual, and as we see, here's an example of what it sounds like. That was a little too quiet. I would guess that is what she sounds like, since that is also the sound of a Lionel Legacy Shay off the internet. You can hear the 6-beat chuff, the 5-chime whistle, and that Shay also has a fan-driven smoke unit. And also what I really like about this is authentic coal, real coal, nothing fake about it. I found out the hard way because bits and pieces of coal were falling off into my hand, and it was getting messy and leaving black stains on my hands. So what I did was I used this paintbrush super glue and pretty much glued it all into place to prevent any more mess, and it works pretty well. That is a real good sound, I will say. And I'm sure this engine sounds just as good. Well, since we've seen the right-hand side of this baby, I'll turn her around, and we can take a look at the left-hand side. As you can see, the injector pipe runs down and comes right off past the bottom of the firebox area. She also has a steam jam brake rather than the 3-truckers, which have air brakes. And she has external piping, whereas the 3-truckers, it's molded to the plastic, whereas this is, molded to the body. This is separate applied piping, which is really nice. And this engine was also more expensive than my 3-truck model, the Birch Valley No. 5. That I got for $725, whereas this I got for almost $1,000. But then again, this is a Legacy model, and it gives you the option to run on Legacy or on Trainmaster Command Control, whereas the Birch Valley No. 5 is Trainmaster Command Control. Also, it doesn't have authentic coal, it doesn't have as good a detail as this baby, even though she may be a model of a superheated engine weighing over 150 tons, since it was based off the Western Maryland No. 6 from the Cassinic Railroad. This is, I would say, is a more beautifully detailed locomotive. I mean, I see a lot more nut, bolt, and washer detail, more rivets of this saturated baby, as well as better coupling design. The whole engine is just really immaculate. And also, I noticed another huge improvement. We'll turn the engine on her side. I mean, shays have been known to be a little too loosey-goosey around here. As you see, they have a lot of side-to-side movement and a lot of lateral movement. This engine only has a lot of forward and backward motion, which is a good amount of free play. Shays need a lot of free play, but they don't need the lateral movement, or where this sort of shakes about, and that could damage the gear. This shay, it doesn't have that problem. Unlike the Birch Valley shay I've got, it kind of does. It's still a little loosey-goosey, whereas this is nice and tight and a better seal. So I believe Lionel fixed that. Hats off to them. Also, the gears mesh better in the trucks. Whereas on my Birch Valley, I had to, or should I say my mechanic had to adjust the amount of gear backlash. So another hat off to Lionel for fixing that problem. Also the chuff. It's in the engine set rather on the axle. But still, it's pretty good and pretty much on key. And my hat goes off to them for this engine. Lionel has really outdone themselves with this model. I mean, let's face it. What are the chances of me ever owning Atchison Topeka and Santa Fe number 3751? Slim to none. It's not so much the cost of that engine, it's more of the fact that my curves, the radius of my curves, are too tight, and that engine wouldn't really take it, not to mention the jumbo-sized coaches. It just wouldn't really work out. Whereas this, I pretty much have a consist for this train, and it can handle any of my log cars, go around the curves better than that of the 3-truck model. I mean, my 3-truck model is supposed to go around 054, but it handles my 031 no problem. This should handle that no problem as well, because it has a longer shaft, more free play, so it has more leeway to go around sharp curves. Also, I love the detail they put in the whistle. You can count the chimes, and this one has 5, and the bell, it even has a metal rope, which is pretty cool. And the stack on this, it's better than that of the 3-trucks. The 3-truck stack is a little too short. It's only about this tall, whereas this is a nice, slender stack, like that of a typical saturated Shay locomotive that you would find on most 2-truckers. Also, the smoke box door detail. This may not have the fluted design, but it's more, the front of this is more like Graham County 1925, and this opens up. I don't think it opens up on my Birch Valley number 5. But still, that is pretty darn cool. Lionel certainly made good products. I will say and admit, Mike's Train House still takes tops for making their shays. I mean, there is no competition between Mike's Train House and other shays. But Lionel has really come a long ways from their very first shay, which was the Western Maryland shay number 6, to the Westside Lumber Company shay, to the Elk River Lumber Company and Weyerhaeuser Timber Company number 5, to the Castanic Railroad number 7, Birch Valley number 5, and the newer Western Maryland number 6, to their 2-truck legacies. K-Line, they've made okay shays. They make really good products, but their shays, they're okay. They're better than the first run of the Lionel and the second run of the Lionels, but they're probably not as good as Lionel's third run of the shays, which was the Birch Valley number 5 and the Casinic number 7 and the new Western Maryland number 6, but it can't compete or compare to the Legacy. The Legacy locomotive has pretty much outdone itself and will easily outperform a K-line Shay. No question asked. It's a beautiful engine. Beautiful. $900, and the best $900 I've ever spent. But how I managed to afford this? Luckily, I caught this at my local hobby dealer, Talbot's Toyland. I haven't bought a train from them in years, since their train department used to be super amazing. It was the best train department in the Bay Area. But over the years, it's gone downhill due to the bad economy, and it just kept going down and down and down. And because of eBay and all the other amazing train stores we see online where we can get steal prices, their train department hasn't been doing so well. But luckily, I caught this engine. This engine caught my eye. I saw it, and my hobby shop allows you to do layaways. So I put a down payment of about $300 and from my paycheck from work. And every month I would put one paycheck down on this engine until I managed to finally pay it off. Well, a couple nights ago. It was worth it. Worth every last penny. And I'm sure I will say that even more when I first run this engine for the first time. I have the option to run it in Trainmaster Command Control, and if I didn't, I'd be screwed because a Legacy remote costs another $400 as the setup, not to mention a second Legacy remote for an add-on would cost about $250. So that's a lot of money. And I plan to get a Legacy remote because my old Trainmaster Command Control remote is falling apart, and it sucks. But the Legacies are awesome. And I'm very pleased with this locomotive. It's outstanding. Yeah. I'm glad my shop had the luxury to do a layaway, and I was able to buy this engine. My next goal is to buy, sorry about that, a Lionel Legacy Makoto. Those can handle 026 curves, and I believe that this Shay can handle that as well. And a Makoto, that is a good size engine that can haul a good load of freight cars, which I can get because I don't need a consist for that engine. I can just add freight car by freight car slowly at a time until I get a full freight train. And that Makoto will do really good. I have a passenger train from my K4 Pacific. I have log and lumber trains from my Birch Valley and Heisler. This can attach onto any log car I've got. I can also add more log cars for this one in the future. And the Makoto, I can just add freight car after freight car. And I should be good to go. Oh, and I do have the California Zephyr Diesel F7 from Western Pacific coming in a couple days. That is a K-line locomotive. It's used, but it's a fairly good engine. It may not be Trainmaster Command Control, but hey, it's a nice locomotive. Looks beautiful and will be coming in a couple days. Yeah. I'm a collector of O scale, HO scale, O130, and G scale's my main one, but O scale, they really are amazing locomotives. Well, that's it for now. We'll take one last look at this outstanding Shay. Chris9017 out.